Hi everybody, and welcome back to Hex Token Channel. Your host Superman in house. Now, this is a quick video on Pulsechain Explained, the future chain to rule them all. And of course, let's check it out. Okay, let's go. And of course, here we've got Pulsechain, and obviously Pulsechain is going to be incredible. What do you do on a blockchain? You have blocks, you have transactions, and then those transactions go in blocks. And of course, that is the blockchain. You can hold assets in your wallet, for example, like a MetaMask wallet. You can transfer assets from one address on the blockchain to another address. So this is some of the main things that you can do on the chain there. And of course, this chain is going to be cheap and fast. Now, there are other chains out there that are cheap and fast. It's going to be pretty super cheap and fast. The other thing, of course, is this is going to be the first system stake fork of Ethereum. And of course, the Go language is also going to be separated out in terms of the validator. So a full proof of stake system. And of course, that's going to be incredible. It's going to be cheap, super fast, super cheap, environmentally friendly, and of course, going to be pretty amazing as well. So let's check it out, how this will flow into the ecosystem. So we're going to have the biggest airdrop in the crypto history. And of course, that's going to massively encourage the fastest way to mass adoption. That's one key component of mass adoption. It's going to be the biggest airdrop. So everything on Ethereum is going to get copied over to a Pulsechain. And of course, it's going to have over 200 million wallets will be accessible. And of course, all the assets that are on Ethereum, over half a million ERC20 tokens will all be copied over to Pulsechain, including 721 contracts and 1155s. Everything is coming over, and of course, people will be able to access those tokens on the Pulsechain, which is going to be pretty neat. All you have to do is add the Pulsechain network to your wallet, and you'll be able to see it. It's pretty easy. Obviously, PulseX is going to be there, and of course, PulseX is going to be potentially the most amazing decentralized. I call it a super DEX. Potentially could be a mega DEX as well. So super DEX meaning that it could challenge the very biggest decentralized exchange like Uniswap trading volume, and of course also potentially challenge the centralized trading volumes as well of the very biggest centralized exchanges like Binance, for example. And that would make it a truly a super DEX. Now, it could also be a mega DEX in the sense that it could challenge the native value of the chains as well. Normally, chains, when they launch like Pulsechain, will do the best in terms of your X returned potential. You know, people talk about 1,000x and 10,000x, things like that. And of course, a PulseX could be a mega DEX and even challenge the value of Pulsechain itself. So we're going to watch that out. That's going to be pretty amazing. So how might it do that? And of course, we're going to talk about that. Now, it's not just going to be PulseX, the native token of PulseX decentralized exchange, but also an incentive token. And of course, that's going to be powerful as well. So what's so powerful about these two components of the decentralized exchange? Well, a buy and burn of PulseX, potentially for every $1 billion of trading volume going through PulseX, $700,000 will be burned. So on PulseX, it's going to be a fee of 0.29%, a trading fee. And of course, that's going to be on the value of any trade. And 0.22% of that's going to go to the yield farmer, the person providing liquidity. And of course, 0.07% of that's going to go to the buy and burn. So basically, if we have 5,000 to 6,000 trading pairs on PulseX, they're all going to trade, and they're all going to end up buying and burning PulseX, making the PulseX native token of the PulseX exchange very, very powerful. And we could see some massive appreciation. Hence, we may also see the value of it be a mega DEX and challenge the value of Pulsechain itself. So we're going to watch that. It's going to be pretty powerful. So imagine $1 billion of trade volume going through a day based on maybe 5,000 to 6,000 trading pairs. Could be absolutely amazing. Now, obviously, the DEX has to build up to that level, but of course, to kick that off, there's a special secret source, and that is an AMM bot is going to run and harvest all the liquidity pairs and all the top DEXs around, like Uniswap, Bancor, Balancer, things like that. So it's going to be pretty incredible. The final ones will be known closer to the point, but it's going to be absolutely incredible to see that play out. So potentially the biggest yield farming and liquidity pools in crypto history there on the DEXs. So it's going to be amazing. The other thing, of course, if that's not good enough as well, you've got the potentially biggest yield farming, potentially a special buy and burn mechanism we haven't seen before operate like this. So basically, PulseX is going to be deflationary. And of course, then you go on top of that, you're going to have an incentive token for yield farmers which are a huge part of crypto coming over to get the incentive token, which will also be a deflationary with a different mechanism. Won't have the buy and burn, but it will be, have a emission curve that declines over time. So that's going to be exciting too. So pretty awesome. So liquidity, yield, and buy and burn, pretty magical as well. And of course, with the biggest combined with the biggest airdrop in crypto history, it's going to be pretty amazing. Now, on top of that, of course, we've got Hex, which is an established product by the founder, Richard Hart, well known in the crypto community. And of course, that gives you great yield, 38% for a 6.5-year average stake length. And that's pretty incredible out in the market for a savings product. And of course, a massive potential for a price increase. Obviously, pretty much the best performing crypto asset during the last bull market, over 10,000x, over 22,000x if you'd staked as well, staked your Hex as an investment. So pretty powerful stuff. Now, obviously, you think that's already good. It just gets better. There's going to be a official bridge opening up. And of course, there'll probably many bridges after a while, but official bridge opening up. And of course, that's going to be spectacular. That's going to help the fastest way to mass adoption. Obviously, everyone wants to get to, participate with all the big airdrops that they're getting. Everything starts off at a price of 0. And of course, we'll get priced up in the PulseX exchange there. So huge amount of capital wants to come over and participate that people want to get into the incentive token yield farming. They want to, value up and claim some of their airdrops that they're getting. They also, a lot of, potentially millions of people coming over a period of time to do all that. Now, obviously, 200 million wallets on Ethereum, and that's all getting copied over to Pulsechain, which is pretty crazy. People are going to come for the assets, and the yield farmers want to come for the yield farming. It's going to be pretty amazing to see that play out. Now, obviously, that brings in new capital, stable coins, for example. So we might start off with AMM pairs that harvest the ETH pairs on Ethereum, but we're going to end up building out with custom pairs that people set up in liquidity pools and also bridge pools as well as stable coins come in and suddenly flourishing prices, US dollar equivalent prices on all the trading pairs, potentially 5,000 or 6,000, maybe even more trading on PulseX over time. So it's going to be pretty fun to see that play out. So the fastest way to mass adoption, this is something that other chains have had to build up over time, build the ecosystem. Pulsechain is doing that super fast with all these mechanisms. It's going to be crazily good. All right, so cool. We're also going to have a lot of third-party Dapps come into the ecosystem that are going to be fundamental. Liquid loans are going to be launching 4 to 6 weeks after Pulsechain launches. And of course, that's going to be a fork of liquidity, which is super successful over on Ethereum chain. When a lot of the projects were falling to the wayside, like Terra USD, UST, and Terra Luna, Celsius, Voyager, all the rest of them, this is where all the money flowed into these very good products. And of course, Pulsechain is going to have its very own liquid loans, and the USDL stablecoin is going to be absolutely incredible for DeFi and a superior model. So it's going to be fun because the USDL is based on Pulse as the underlying asset, and of course that's external to the liquid loans loaning. So we're going to have two things. We're going to have an incredible stablecoin for DeFi 4 to 6 weeks after Pulsechain, and that's going to be able to help with risk management, things like that. We're also going to have people able to put their Pulse, the native token of Pulsechain, PLS there into liquid loans and get USDL and go buy more Pulse and more PulseX, more incentive tokens, etc., more Hex inside liquidity, as well as all the other tokens that people want, popular ERC20s, which will be called PRC20s on Pulsechain. So it's going to be pretty fun. We're also going to have Fiat, a fork of Aave, obviously huge in the lending space. Both of these are going to be a powerhouse for leveraged increases in prices on Pulsechain and PulseX. It's going to be amazing. We're also going to have Fiat on-ramps and off-ramps. Obviously, that's another form. We've got the bridges for bringing in capital from other chains. We're going to have Fiat on-ramps and off-ramps to bring a new economic energy in from the Fiat world onto the crypto world, into Pulsechain and to PulseX. It's going to be crazy. We're also going to have centralized exchanges. We've got one of the very largest whales in Pulsechain and PulseX and Hex, Rackham Rochelle, Overwatch, and everything blockchain, building out centralized exchanges. And so we're looking for that with the EB exchange, and that potentially could be massive. So we're looking for that too. Coming cross-chain swaps, of course, with Power City Flex. They're going to be doing that for Hex, but they're also going to be doing a cross-chain swap, a transformer. And of course, that's going to be massive for all the EVM chains, being able to swap into different tokens and do it all automated for you. So it just shows up in your wallet and you have to worry about that. So it's super bullish too. And then, of course, we're going to have hundreds of native projects on Pulsechain on top of all the Ethereum chains that are getting forked over. So a lot of hundreds of native projects, and they're amazing. So what are they all going to contribute into the ecosystem? They're going to bring in risk management, leveraged propping up of the tokens. In other words, helping to prop them up, get those big 1000x returns, for example. as people leverage and buy those assets. There's going to be massive capital come in, of course, through the centralized exchange, cross-chain swap bridges, the fiat on-ramps, off-ramps, the leverage lending, as I say, and of course, a lot of the profits that are made in the hundreds of native products, and of course, plenty of profiteering, which is what we all like too. So the ecosystem of Pulsechain is going to be pretty amazing. We're also going to have on top of Hex, which is the ultimate savings project, Icosa, Hedron, Maximus, Flex, and others. These are second layer derivatives of Hex, and building out Hex not just as a token, the ultimate savings product, but as an ecosystem in itself. And of course, that is a yield amplifier, right? You'll be able to amplify your yield with some of the products and dividends that you earn on there. You take Icosa, for example, you earn Icosa and Hedron, which is pretty amazing. And Maximus, of course, you earn multiple tokens. And Flex, no doubt, will also have Hex and other Hedron and things like that in it as well. So it's going to be pretty powerful. That's going to flow in on top of the Hex. And of course, everybody just gets wealthier and wealthier and wealthier. It's pretty neat. And of course, they also take off the Hex supply, which helps the price pump of Hex go up even higher. Now, that's pretty amazing. So if we combine all these, we've got a Pulsechain, PulseX, incentive token Hex all feeding in on each other. And of course, propping up the prices of the whole chain. And that, folks, is the ultimate. Taken all together, this is going to be incredible in terms of pumping the prices out. And people are going to be hunting those 1,000x returns, 10,000x returns. It's going to be incredible. And we haven't seen anything like this in the crypto space. It's got the best of everything. The PulseX buy and burn is going to be incredible. The AMM bot harvesting of the Ethereum pairs and for Pulsechain is going to be incredible. The incentive token is going to be incredible for yield farmers. The biggest airdrop is going to be incredible for up to 200 million people on Ethereum. And of course, with whole wallets on Ethereum, I should say, that's going to be amazing. And of course, it's all going to be done on a super fast, super cheap chain with the fastest way to mass adoption. It's going to be absolutely insane times. And of course, a great part of the model of Pulsechain is that there's profit sharing all over the place, particularly with a lot of the native projects that are being built and around these assets of PulseX, incentive token, and Hex, of course. Of course, 5,000 to 6,000 other trading pairs going to be flourishing on here too. And of course, everything's going to get priced up from zero. People are going to love this place. The amount of Pulse and PulseX are going to decline over time because of the deflation. With the buy and burn in particular, it's going to be absolutely exciting. So that's a bit of an update and explanation of Pulsechain, and of course how it's going to be, the future blockchain to rule them all. It's going to be absolutely mind blowing. We haven't seen anything like this put together. So this is just getting warmed up, folks. Hope you enjoy this. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, hit the bell on it, and I will have a lot of other alpha videos coming out in the short form like this. So stay tuned. Bye for now. Take